Good afternoon, all, and thank you, Mr. Williams. To all our citizens, residents, and friends who are watching via all means. I want to start out this afternoon with an article that I read on CNN online. And it's reference a farmer and his sick wife who would have made a donation to Governor Cuomo of one N95 mask out of 5 that he had in his possession. And I am first going to start with the quote that Governor Cuomo in New York City, New York, in the state of New York, ends with. How beautiful is that, Cuomo said, of their sacrifice. It's that love, that courage, that generosity of spirit that makes this country so beautiful. And this was in reference to this special sacrifice made by this farmer, and he's a retired farmer of 70 years of age. And he asked Governor Cuomo to do one thing, to please give a nurse or a doctor this one N95 mask. And he pleaded with Governor Cuomo to please keep doing, and I quote, please keep doing what you do well, which is to lead. Every time a citizen, resident, or friend of St. Kitts and Nevis makes a special sacrifice to donate or give of their time, selfless time, to the operations of the fight against COVID-19, we must hail such selfless acts. So with that said, I want to take the opportunity to read 2 letters that was brought to me. Well, one, I actually had to go to government headquarters and meet this couple. And it reads, please accept this small donation for the COVID-19 task force to use as they see fit. We believe that you have done a great job in keeping a lid on this virus and subsequently of us all. Hopefully, this will help in some small way and benefit the general population. The people of St. Kitts have been so welcoming and kind to us since we arrived here on the 12th of March. We would like to take this opportunity to say a huge thank you. And this donation comes from David and Wendy from the sailing yacht Mischief. David and Wendy are from the United Kingdom. They arrived here on the 12th of March. They were unable to leave. They were stuck here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And they appreciate the response that the Federation has had to this virus. So to you, David and Wendy, it was a pleasure for me to come to government headquarters today, where you went, to ensure that the NEOC received this donation. And to you, I say, from the people and government of St. Kitts and Nevis, thank you. And we do hope that history for you would ensure that St. Kitts and Nevis is engraved in your hearts and minds. I also want to read a letter from the institutional and community-based pharmacy staff of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, who would have made a contribution. The contribution from David and Wendy is in the sum of 1,000 EC dollars cash. The institutional and community-based pharmacy staff of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis commends the NEOC team for the outstanding service you are providing to the Federation. We also take pleasure in making our contribution of $500 to the COVID-19 fund. We would like this contribution to go towards the school meal program for the children. So to the chief pharmacist for St. Kitts and Nevis, Vanessa Matthews, and the team, we are forever grateful. I also want to acknowledge Denny's, and the team at Domino's for their continued support. Domino's keep supporting throughout. It was just today that they lived up to their commitment, where they sent several Dominator pizzas and sodas to the students who are in quarantine. But besides that, Domino's would have sent out, as they continue to do, pizzas to the SSU and the police and other entities. And to that, we are so thankful. And today I received a call at about 4:30 this afternoon from Jackie Martin from New York, who stated that she watches the briefing daily. She says, Mr. Samuel, I have not missed a briefing. She said she would have sent a message to me about a week ago, and she didn't get no response. But Jackie, I'm sorry, I didn't see it. However, today, she said she contacted GQ and asked GQ to ensure that I got the message, which I now have, and she has committed 400 EC dollars for the differently abled and 400 EC dollars for the Cancer Society. So to you, I say thank you. All these small gestures go a long way for all of us. Yesterday, I would have mentioned to you that the 911 would have recorded a total of 77 prank calls. Today, just before I came, I had the privilege of speaking to the supervisor on duty. And she would have stated that she would have taken over from 3 p.m. And between 3 p.m. and 4:30, they recorded a total of 22 prank calls. 22 prank calls. And from seven this morning to 3 p.m., a total of 66 were recorded prank calls. From this morning to right now as we speak, a total of 88 prank calls have been recorded. I am appealing to parents, I am appealing to all adults to cease and desist from this action. You are leaving us without any option but to pursue the heavy hand of the law towards you. I asked the supervisor, what are some of these calls? She says to me that it's sometimes the adults, they call and they give the operators bad words. They call and just hang up. Others are children who are playing with the phone. Again, I'm going to ask every responsible citizen in St. Kitts and Nevis during this pandemic, during a crisis, to exercise responsibility with this. We have persons who need to access these services for real life situations. I want to also bring to your attention that the new norm is not the old norm. You see the lines at the supermarket, they are going to be long. Reason being, the capacity of occupants on the inside of a business has been reduced. There are protocols whereby you have to now be spaced according to the regulation on the outside. So if you don't want to wait long in lines, you have to adapt to the new norm. Go to the supermarket earlier, find time. Let us not be naive to the successes that we have made and drop your safeguards. It's important. Today, while driving around in the Bastia area in particular, I saw number of persons, in particular younger ones, not wearing masks. I had some masks thanks to Shauna, who gave some masks, and Justin, and I was sharing them out to some of the younger fellas and said, wear masks. Let us not break the law. The law says you must wear a mask, please wear a mask. And I want to thank those youngsters for accepting the mask. I was also reliably informed today that after the Prime Minister would have announced the easement on the beaches, persons took to the beach this morning. I don't think you are happier than I am that I am going to be able to go to the beach as of Monday. Not today, not tomorrow, or Sunday, as of Monday. Let us be good, law-abiding citizens. I had a group of elders who would have called me several times, getting down on me that they need to go to the beach. They waited and waited, and the process, and it's a methodical and gradual process that we are having in order for us to be a successful federation against the COVID-19 virus. I had extensive discussion with Junie. Junie Liebert and I would have had many discussions on the beach, because he said to me that that's one of his means of exercising, but it is for me as well. And I have waited and waited and waited. So I need you to wait as well. Every process is calculated. Every process is inclusive of consultations. And to the lady who cussed the man for Nemo, you waited and you're getting the beach. So let us be patient with this process. Another matter that was brought to my attention is the mask. Those masks that are made of cloth. Persons that complaining have brought complaints that the elastic that are on these masks are too tight, they're pulling their ears forward. I think that matter has been discussed. If a mask is uncomfortable for you, find a mask that is comfortable. That's the simple solution I will give you. Okay? With that said, I want to thank all of you for your continued support, prayers. Let us remain vigilant. We are not out of the woods. So those individuals who are still have the liming vibes in them, going by the corners, drinking the rum, going in the area to lime without that 6 feet distancing, please do not put others in jeopardy. So I want to wish the mothers a happy Mother's Day in advance, as Miss Vesta Southwell will be reporting on my behalf for the next couple of days. That's Saturday and Sunday. So to all the mothers, you may not hear from me on Sunday, but please know that I carry you in my heart with special wishes. I will now call upon Ms. Merclyn Hughes, Chief Immigration Officer and the head of the Compliance Task Force, to give her report as it regards to the task force activities for the week and for today.
Good afternoon, all. The COVID-19 Compliance and Enforcement Task Force began operations on April 20th, 2020, with a mandate to ensure that businesses within the public and private sectors adhere to guidelines outlined in the Emergency Powers Regulation and any other regulation that followed during our state of emergency. We have a new SRO, as Mr. Henry stated earlier, that comes into effect Saturday the 9th, and it will go until Saturday the 23rd. The purpose of the Compliance and Enforcement Task Force is to ensure that businesses and public transportation, including buses, taxis, and ferries, comply with the health and security measures outlined by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis on the advice of the National Health Operations Center and the National Emergency Operations Center, to ensure the Federation remains a safe and healthy place to live, work, and do business. The objective of the task force is to ensure strict adherence to the regulations outlined in the various SROs on the relaxation of businesses to operate during the days of limited operations. And from last night, we were told that those days will now increase to 5 days, Monday to Friday, in the next week. The task force is made up of officers from the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, the St. Kitts Nevis Defense Force, Customs and Excise, Fire and Rescue Services, Environmental Health Department, Consumer Affairs, and the Labor Department. At this time, I wish to thank the men and women who work tirelessly, who suffers hostility by a few, especially some of those bus drivers, but are encouraged by the majority of civic-minded individuals. The task force has a number of areas of focus, and those include Regulation 7, which does not change, has been the same since the regulations came into effect, which speaks to social and physical distancing. Regulation 14, that speaks to suspension of all retail liquor licenses. Regulation 15 speaks to the wearing of masks in public place. Regulation 8 speaks to the passenger buses and ferries and the number of passengers that each can carry. Regulation 17 speaks to the hygiene protocols, and Regulation 18 gives the power of the COVID-19 task force. Regulation 19 speaks to the penalties for breaking any of these, and the penalty could be up $5,000 or 6 months imprisonment or both. At this time, I would like to say thank you to Mr. Kennedy De Silva, Controller of Customs, Sergeant Sophia Henry, who is a liaison officer for the task force, Mr. Osbert Franz, Mr. Abdias Samuel, Mrs. Langley Stevens, Dr. Hazel Laws, our CMO, Miss Ophelia Blanchett, Miss Kebas, Miss Petty, and especially to the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, who are assisting us greatly in ensuring that their members adhere to the regulations. I would also like to thank the staff at Immigration, especially my deputy, as well as my management staff, who allows me to spend a lot of time here as we have to deal collectively with this pandemic to ensure that our nation keep level that curve that we also pray and hope for. So I said earlier that the task force was established on the 20th of April, and from the 20th of April to the 8th of May, today, we visited 852 businesses. We got statistics from the Inland Revenue indicated that we have over 5,000 businesses in St. Kitts. And so it will take us quite a while to get to all of them. We have completed 852, and these businesses range from salons, barbershops, bakeries, clothing stores, doctors' offices, supermarkets, mini-marts, government departments, pharmacies, furniture traders, hardware stores, professionals, food vendors, taxi operators, bus operators, rum shops, broker agents, restaurants, village shops, lawyers' offices, car dealership, bank, insurance, and other, which includes construction site, mechanic shops, and welding shops, etc. So far, we have seen that of the number of businesses adhering to the 6 feet distances is 494 of the 852. 30 square foot per person observation, we have 317. Distance marking, 299. The face mask is posing a little bit of a problem, but it is still very good because it's 695 of 852. And we are finding that, as most persons would have said before me, that the majority of persons are observing these, but we still want to ensure that everyone adhere to the wearing of the masks. The sanitization of the doors, the latest thing that the bus drivers are asking if government is going to give them the sanitization because they cannot afford it. I would just want to, at this stage, encourage all of us to be our brother's keeper. We all see persons who are not wearing their mask. We all see persons who are not observing the 6 feet distance. I mean, I drove across the Bay Road this afternoon coming here, and the line of persons I saw at a supermarket, and everybody were so clustered, but the police officers were there trying to ensure that persons maintain distance. So let us continue. We are on a good path. We've leveled the curve, but we have heard about what can happen if we have a surge, a second wave, and so let us all endeavor to keep that curve down at the bottom where it is right now. Thank you very much.